Welcome to Central Missouri Alumni Stories. I'm your host, Corey Bittner. Today's special guest is Caitlin Peterson. Caitlin is the Senior Associate Head Volleyball Coach at the University of Central Missouri at UCM. Hey, Caitlin, thanks for being here today. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm excited to have the conversation here today, to hear what's going on with the volleyball program too, and just to kind of hear your story to this point.
We're excited. Ball goes fast, so we're glad we kind of finally found a time to work this in. So.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thanks again. So first, though, Caitlin, just kind of telling your story. Where does it start? Where did you grow up? What led you to UCM? Let's start there.
Sure. So I'm from Hutchinson, Kansas. I went to Bachelor, which is a small town outside Hutch. Played 3 sports. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to play in college. I grew up mostly softball was my love, but volleyball I came on late with that, and just loved it. And Central Missouri had recruited me, in my junior year, and wound up offering for volleyball and softball, and so then I didn't have to pick. And so I came here to play both, and eventually figured out that wasn't going to work. So if I wanted to be good at either one of them, I had to pick one. So I stuck with volleyball after my freshman year, and then played 4 years volleyball, and have loved every minute of my time at UCM. So
that's excellent. When did you graduate?
2005.
Okay.
From high school, 2005. Yeah.
Okay.
And then from UCM in 2000, the fall of 2000, or the spring of 2010.
Did you have any idea when you were playing volleyball in college that you wanted to be a volleyball coach?
No. Growing up, I had, really admired a lot of my coaches. They were people that I aspired to be like, but I had never really thought about it. I was like, I'm going to go get a job and make money. And that was kind of what I thought of. My undergrad is in accounting, so not really.
Yeah, very different.
And it was my junior year, and Coach Martin, who was the head coach then, I respected her a lot. And she said to me one day that we were walking around the multi out in the arena, and she said, of all the people I've ever coached, I think you would make the best coach. And it struck me, and it was like, wow, that means a lot. She's coached a lot of people, and
sure.
So I really thought about it, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. And so I started a minor in coaching, and then was a graduate assistant coach here at UCM while I was doing a master's in kinesiology, and just fell in love with it. And I've been around sports my whole life. The idea of leaving athletics just was heart-wrenching to me, and so it was a way to stay connected, and at first, just kind of still be around the sport. But I've fallen in love with the other side, the coaching side, the strategy, the connections with the players, and it's a great career. It's a lot of work, and there's lots of ups and downs, but it's a great career, and I love it here.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm going to come back to that some. But going back to your time as a student at UCM, when you just think about your fondest memories associated with the university, are they almost all volleyball related?
I would say either volleyball specifically or time with my volleyball teammates outside of practice, whether it's my roommates or, team trips. We were blessed to get to go all over the country. We played in Boston and Alaska and Texas and California and Florida multiple times, and Denver. And, we kind of touched all corners. And those trips were, a lot of time spent on the bus, only a few hours here and there really spent playing volleyball.
Sure.
A lot of hours on the bus or the plane or locker room or hotel room. And just the friendships I made with those people, I'm still close with a lot of my teammates. I'm actually married to the brother of one of my teammates. So
oh, really? Okay. I like it.
Literally family with one of my teammates. So
that's funny. That's good. What you are so traveling all over the country, right? Playing volleyball. What was it like being a student athlete?
You've got to have time management first and foremost. and you've got to be a little bit of a planner. And those two things are something I excel at. So for me, it was not as much work as it can be. I like to have a calendar and a planner and all of that stuff. But you just got to, kind of look weeks and weeks ahead of when your home games are, when your away games are, when you're going to travel, postseason, you might be gone for a test or finals even. And, it's really important that you make time ahead of time to, turn in work or let your teachers know. And all my professors were really great about working with it. They respected the fact that I was playing a sport and, going to school, and they knew I was a good student. And so, they, helped me out when I needed. And, it's hard work, but, ultimately the goal is to get a degree. And as much as we love the volleyball part, if you're here and you don't get a degree, you've wasted 4 years of an opportunity that, that we really want to make sure everybody takes advantage of. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That makes perfect sense. But I'm sure that also helps you as a coach with with the players now, because they're student athletes, but you've been in those shoes, right? You've gone through that experience and presumably can help coach them not only on the court, but some of that stuff off the court too, which I'm sure, your coach, Peggy Martin, who you looked up to a lot. I'm sure that like any great coach is just like that. There's of course on the court and, guidance, coaching, advice, but a lot of stuff that happens off the court too.
Yeah. And they know that it's important to us and that academics are number one, and they're a student before they're an athlete. As much as the volleyball is fun and, maybe an escape for them.
Sure.
They've got to do their schoolwork. We had I would say in the last 3 years, we've averaged a 3.7 as a team. And so.
Oh, no kidding. Wow. That's great.
Everybody pulls their weight. We don't have I don't go check classes and make sure they're going to school, because I know they are, they're the kind of players and students that say, hey coach, can we wait to leave till noon? Because I really need to finish this lab from 11 to 12 or something like that, so.
Very cool. Well, good. So you graduated with your undergrad degree, and then did I hear that you got your master's from UCM also?
Yeah. My undergrad, I finished in 2010 with a minor in finance and coaching. And then I did a master's in kinesiology 2011 and 12.
Okay. So you did roll right into the master's program?
Yeah. 10 and 11. Yep.
And then when did you start at UCM as a coach?
So the 2012 season, I actually moved to Alabama to coach for Peggy Martin. She's at it was an NAI school then, now Division II, but so I coached for her for one season, and then this assistant job came open. And so I was full-time again in the spring of 2013.
Okay. So you've had a lot of time in Warrensburg then, between your undergraduate degree, your graduate degree, and then coming back. But it's good. So you went down to Alabama, you said, for one season. You were down there. Okay.
Spring Hill College in Mobile, Alabama.
Okay. How was that? Did you like it down there?
It was amazing. It was hard because I'm really close with my family.
Sure.
So being that far away from home was hard. But weather is beautiful all the time. And, we're 30 minutes from the beach, and it just felt like a different world, but I loved it. So I wish I would have had a little more time down there. But I couldn't pass up the opportunity to come back.
Sure. No, that makes sense. But it's good too, I think, to just go and have that experience somewhere else, right? To do something different, even if it's just for a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, good. What, now that, of course, you've been back in Warrensburg and UCM, how do you feel like things have changed since you first went to school at UCM? How have things changed between then and now?
It seems like yesterday and a lifetime ago, all at the same time.
I know what you mean.
Just physically looking at campus, I mean, the renovations they've done to the rec center, to lots of the academic buildings, building the crossing. Now they're working on some dorms. When I have teammates come back, because I've gotten to see all of it happen.
Right. Yeah, you've been there for it.
I've watched it all happen. And so when I have teammates or older alumni come back, they're like, it just doesn't even look like the same place. Everything is improving and changing and growing. And, it's really nice to see. And there's always something in the works, whether it's, like WC Morris, they renovated the labs and classrooms in there for a while. And, the next thing's always on the calendar. And just to know that we have enough support and, whether it's foundation or, other things, to make improvements, because you got to keep up, or,
I know.
And,
yeah. Is it, from your perspective, is it, so how involved, I'm curious, with your role on the team, how involved are you in trying to recruit players to the university?
I would say that's, if not the most important, the second most important job I have. Obviously, coaching the kids once they get here, but, from
Getting
a winning
them here.
perspective, from a winning perspective, as much as I'd like to say we can create these amazing athletes once they're here, it really is so much more about getting players that have the potential and that fit into our culture, and whether it's, their personalities or their academics, like we want to have people that are, focused on that. It's huge. And, we have.
How do you go about that? And because this is a question that stems purely from ignorance. How do you go about finding the students that you want to recruit?
Yeah. And I think it's different for every sport. So for volleyball, the high school season is during our season. So it's very hard for us to get out to stuff. I think Flip and I have been out to maybe three weekends of 3 tournaments, a Tuesday here or a Saturday here when we were off. But those are mostly recruits we've already identified. We know that this player is top on our list. We need to go watch her and make sure that she knows that we're interested, all of that.
Yep.
So the majority for us is in the club season, which starts in 2 weeks, which is insane. But it goes November through July, basically. And so that's when we do most of our recruiting. And there's tons of great volleyball in Kansas City and St. Louis and Omaha. Wichita's got some. So we don't have to go too far. But they have these qualifiers where thousands and thousands of players are all playing. There's 120 courts, and there's 2 teams playing on each court, and there's a team reffing, and so there's thousands of kids at these tournaments. And we have a database where we enter kids in that have emailed us or that we've seen that we're interested in, and I click, I'm going to the Denver Crossroads tournament, and it spits out all the people I've tagged that I want to watch and tells me what time and where, and
very cool.
Try to go knock them out. And it's quite the process, but
I would imagine, though, like those qualifiers, like you talked about, that there's a ton of schools and a ton of people there that are trying to recruit them, right? I mean, I would imagine it can get pretty competitive at times.
Yep. You always, kind of do the check there. There's all, your little logo. Everybody's
identifier.
Logos. Who's this? Who's that? Who's walking around? And, when you see like the big time coaches and Russ Rose or, John Cook, it's kind of like somebody famous in the gym. And
sure. Yeah, that's cool though. But I would imagine too, just being an athlete and a competitor yourself, you might almost enjoy the competitive element of, recruiting students to the school.
Yeah. I think it's something I enjoy. It's hard. It's because you find kids that you fall in love with, just their families and their personalities. And sometimes they're not the best player.
Yeah,
and so you
can't be everyone, right?
Or sometimes you pick that kid because you know that they're going to fit in with your culture. They're going to work hard. They're going to be, and maybe you're going to give up a tiny bit of passing, ability or something, or
sure,
a little bit of a height or vertical, when you know that they're going to fit into your program and be, a good team member, a good, Jenny for 4 years and so on forever, so. But it's one of my favorite parts. I love getting to know the players and the families, and we have a great group of parents on our team right now. They're fun. They like to do stuff together. We have a tailgate planned for homecoming next week where all the parents are going to come, and they help bring side dishes, and we hang out and throw football around, and it's just nice to have that family feeling where it's not just get on the court and win games.
Sure. No, that's cool. And that also keeps the families connected to the university, right? And it keeps the alumni, when these students go and graduate and go and do what they do, right? It keeps them connected to UCM, to Warrensburg, to the program.
Yep.
It keeps them coming back. Yeah, that's great. Well, that's good. Is from this point forward, I'm curious, Caitlin, for you, what does your career trajectory, what do you kind of envision? What do you see from, the current juncture and trying to look forward? None of us can see the future, but what's next?
I love UCM, and I'm from Kansas. When I was growing up, Kansas and Missouri were huge rivals in the Big 12. And so for a Kansas girl that was a Jayhawk fan to come to Tiger country, it just almost made me sick just thinking about it, and the minute I came to campus, I knew that this was the place for me. And, I am a Jenny through and through. And I love coaching volleyball, but I don't see myself coaching anywhere else. I don't, my
Really?
plans are to go be a D1 assistant somewhere. If I'm coaching volleyball, I'm coaching volleyball at Central Missouri.
Excellent.
Well,
that's good.
As long as they'll have me. So
yeah, there's something to be said for, for being content with what you're doing, because then you can just focus on being the best you can be at it and not waste all, not waste, but not spend as much time or energy thinking about, the greener pastures, right? You're just focused on being the best at what you're doing. And I'm sure the outcomes will be positive. And I would think too, from a recruitment standpoint, right, you guys are focused, I'm sure, on, building a great program. When there's a great program in place and there's a winning team, that fixes a lot of problems, right?
Yes.
And that also makes the recruiting isn't as difficult when you have a great program and you have a great team.
Yeah. Yeah. And our, we've had 2 head coaches since the 70s. So, recruits don't come here wondering, well, what's it going to be like? Who's going to,
there's a lot of stability
in 6 months. Who's going to be the coach in 3 years? Who's going to, they don't have to really worry about that. And, and even when it transitioned from Coach Warren to Flip, so he had worked for her so long that a lot of what she had in place, was easy for him to just kind of carry over and
just implement.
He had things he wanted to change, like everybody would, but it's still very much the Central Missouri in 2021 that people associate with the Central Missouri in the 80s.
Yeah, that's cool. I hadn't even really thought about that, but you're exactly right. If there's been 2 coaches over such a long period of time, that stability is a great thing.
Yeah.
Continuity, stability, and it's executing what's worked for a long time.
Yep.
Well, good. I'm for our next segment, Caitlin, I did not, because I know we're starting to bump up against the clock here a little bit. Our next segment here that I'm gonna go through, I did not prompt you for this, so but I think you can handle it. This is called what I originally called this was the Mule Minute, but someone also suggested that we call it the Jenny Jam. So we'll call it the Jenny Jam here today, of course. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rattle through 10 questions. I'm just going to fire some questions at you, and I just want to hear the first answer that comes to your brain. Certainly don't need to overthink it, but you think you can play along and handle it for me? There's no stopwatch or anything like that. Okay. All right. Good. So we'll start with an easy one. What is your favorite destination to travel to?
Florida, Pensacola specifically, probably.
Good. All right. I like it. You knew that answer right off the bat. Next would be what is your, obviously what you do is grueling, I'm sure, at times. What is your favorite way to just relax or unwind?
Now, take my kids to the park. 3 years ago, go for a run.
Yeah, different answers. Yeah. How old are your kids?
I have a 9-month-old and a little over 2-year-old.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys are, if you're not busy at work, you're busy at home, I'm sure.
Yeah, man.
Always busy.
They are a lot, but they are so fun.
Good. What, who's your personal hero?
Peggy Martin.
I thought that might be your answer. What advice would you give to someone that's going through a difficult situation, whether it's academics, athletics, or otherwise?
Ooh, that's a good one. Figure out what's important to you and let the rest of it go. There's so much pressure from outside sources that find what's important to you, what matters, focus on that, and don't worry about what other people think and what other people say and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but.
Yeah, sometimes it really is that simple, right? Is what does it work and does it matter? Right? You want the answer to be yes to both of those.
Yeah.
Good. If you could travel back in time to any period in history, when would you travel back to?
Honestly, it's gonna sound so lame. The 90s.
Okay. So just do it again.
It was, I mean, I was young, so obviously it was simpler anyways, but there was not really internet. There's no social media. I was just playing ball all the time, every weekend. Just absolutely loving life. So I would say the 90s. I know that's kind of lame, but
no, I like it. I like it. We're obviously right in the. I think I graduated from UCM a year after you did.
Okay.
With my undergraduate degree. So we're both very much in that same demographic. And you're right, the 90s were that was a time period that we obviously as children didn't know it, but
right.
Generally speaking, like the country was doing great economically. We
Yes.
weren't involved in any wars. There wasn't, there was just a lot of good things that were going on that sometimes
Right.
you don't know what it's like until you're gone, until it's gone. But
the good old days. You don't know
the good old days. Yeah, we all have that nostalgia. That's good though, the 90s. If you could try one profession, doesn't matter what it is, something different than what you're doing now, what would it be? You ever have that one thing you're like, I'd love to try that, or I think I could be good at it?
Oh man. Gosh, I would say maybe, honestly, this is gonna sound really lame too, an accountant. Like, because I have a degree in accounting. I'm like, if I would have given it a shot, what would it be like? Would I like it? Would I not? Not very glamorous, but I'm kind of a nerdy numbers person, so I like
as am I
classes. I just wasn't sure I could sit by myself a lot. And
yeah, I don't know if it'd be better for worse. It would definitely be different. It would definitely be different than what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What if you walked into, Caitlin, an establishment that has a karaoke machine and you have to sing one song? What's your song?
Oh my gosh. I don't know that I have one. I would definitely sing. I would definitely do it.
Okay,
it
not afraid to do it, but it might be an impulse.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm feeling right now.
I probably have to try to find a buddy. Maybe I'd find a buddy. Let them help me pick a song. I don't think I have a song.
That's okay. That's all right. Not everyone has a go-to. Some people are like, they know exactly what song it would be, but I'm like you. It would depend upon the day or the night, who I'm with, what the place is like.
I'm right.
But it wouldn't stop me from trying, but it might not be very pretty.
And it wouldn't be good.
Yep. We have that in common too. Good. What, lastly, well, this might be one or two questions, but I'm curious to know if you have a student on your team that is a senior and preparing for graduation, and if you have a senior in high school that is preparing for high school graduation, and let's say they're going to come to UCM. What I was going to ask you is, what is one piece of advice that you would give to one of them, both of them? Would the advice be different? What advice would you give to a graduating senior from your volleyball team? And what advice would you give to a graduating high school senior that's going to join your volleyball team? And it might be the same thing.
Let's see, I would say for a college, athlete or just student in general, to not be in a hurry. I feel like, a lot of us graduate college, find a job, get married, have kids. Like there's, this sequence of things that people expect. And it doesn't have to happen in everybody's time, in the certain time frame you think. And, I didn't get married till I was a little bit older and didn't have kids till I was a little bit older, and allowed me to really have a lot of fun in my 20s. And maybe for some people getting married and having kids young is what's, what they want. But regardless of, your situation, just don't be in a hurry. Go, if you see opportunities, if you can go travel. If you can take a job in New York for 6 months or a year, or, wherever it is, California, whatever your place, go do those things, because eventually it will get harder and harder to be able to do that kind of stuff, have that freedom. But, don't limit yourself to, I need to stay here. I need to find a job. I got to hunt down a husband, or a wife, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just don't be in a hurry, and enjoy the phases, the stages of life and all of that. For a high school kid, like one of our incoming freshmen, I would say get involved. When you get here, you're already involved with volleyball. So that's one thing you have outside of just your classes, but find a club, whether it's, with your major or a volunteer club or something. Just get involved with lots of organizations and lots of people, and different types of people, because the volleyball people, they're all different from different places. But they have a lot in common, and to go find other people that are different than you to learn from and to experience. And adds to their, overall college experience. And that's really ultimately what we want here, and in Division II in general, I think, is that college experience where they aren't just, going to work for the volleyball team 20 hours a week, watching film all day, all night, eat, sleep, go to bed, whatever, volleyball. So, have that full experience, go outside your comfort zone a little bit, that kind of stuff.
That's good. I like both of those pieces of advice, especially like you said, for someone who's graduating college, right? To know that, you don't have to let someone make every decision for you, right? Not everything is predisposed of. You can, make your own choices and go your own way and your own path. And I think that's good though, because that's probably the advice, frankly, that a lot of graduating college seniors don't get, right? They get the practical advice, right? Like you've got to go find the best job, make as much money as you can, get married, start a family, exactly like you said. But letting that happen organically or naturally is provides, I think, more satisfaction, right? More fulfillment if you kind of do it on your own watch and your own timeline.
Yeah. And these students that we have are ultra driven, whether it's their workouts or their practice or games.
They're competitors.
They get out of volleyball and they don't know what to do with that. They still need to experience that somehow, whether it's, training for triathlons or getting in a really competitive work environment. And it's really easy to say like, okay, this is my next thing. Now I got to accomplish this. And this is the next thing. And now, and you lose track of how fun it is to get to, the next place or whatever. So. Yeah.
It's maybe sounds cliche, right? But it's like the journey and not the destination.
Right. I know it is.
No, I know, but you're totally right. You are absolutely right. And I don't like using those cliches either, but they're usually true. There's a reason that it's that it's considered cliche. So, well, good. I'm glad to I'm glad to hear that again, especially, the advice for kids graduating and for incoming freshmen. You're coming in to play volleyball, of course, but you're really coming here to be a student, to get a degree, and to try to make the most out of that college experience. And that leads me to the last question that I wanted to ask you is, when you think back over the last, decade or so, is there anything that stands out, or even more, last 15 years since you went away to UCM as, a graduating senior in high school and went off to school, anything specific or anything that jumps out that you'd say, gosh, if I could go back and do that differently, I would?
I really don't think so. I really don't. I don't think I would change anything. I mean, it wasn't all perfect. It was, it was messy at times, and it was, hard. And, being an athlete is hard, and being challenged by your coaches is hard. But I think that I'm pretty happy with where my life has gone and where I am right now. And I'd hate to mess that up by changing something in the past. So I don't have anything that, that I would change. Good.
No, I like that. Well, Caitlin, again, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for coming on and have the conversation. And for those of you watching or listening at home, thank you for viewing or for tuning into the podcast here. As a quick reminder, please make sure that you are subscribed to the show, Central Missouri Alumni Stories. So the channel on YouTube, you can subscribe, and that way you'll never miss any new episodes as they become available, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. And of course, I always appreciate a thumbs up rating or 5 stars if you think the episode is worthy of it, because ultimately that helps other folks find this and uncover this, which is exactly what we're trying to do, is just bring awareness to all of the great alumni from UCM, all of the different things that they're doing in their lives. And someone like Caitlin, of course, who is had so much fun at UCM that she stuck around for a while. She left, but she came right back. So again, I think it's a wonderful thing to have that kind of connection with your alma mater and your college town specifically. But Caitlin, again, I appreciate you being here. Those of you at home, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll look forward to talking with you next time. Thanks, Caitlin.
Have a great day.
You too.